What you're going to see here today is why I'm so worried about next season. I've been constantly telling people to look out for, especially the beginning weeks of the War Within Season 1. And obviously, the dungeons are hard. They're new dungeons in general. It's going to be a very messy start to a season. But what you're going to see in this footage of a dungeon that has existed for like almost 2 years now. Don't forget, this dungeon was actually in the pre-patch. It's a mess. It's scary, and it really is scary. And this is why I firmly believe that low keys are harder than high keys. I'm going to show you guys a Mythic plus 4 of Uldaman. Think about a Mythic plus 14 of Uldaman that you did. Do you think the 4 that I'm about to show is harder than the 14? I know people hesitate and call me out on it when I say this, but like, frankly, if you need a summon to this dungeon, I'm really worried. And it's just because of my history, bro. Like, if you haven't seen the season 2 playlist, you really got to go back and look at it. We did so many low keys in that season where people simply could not figure out how to get to this dungeon. It scared the hell out of me. Like, where's this guy go? Where's he going? You see where this mage is? Did he go inside the other Uldaman? I wonder where he's gone. That guy's coming from Twilight Highlands. Look at that. But anyway, again, it's 4 Uldaman, just fortified, only the one affix. You could see the DPS chart, okay? It might be a little bit small. We have the tank on the first pull of the dungeon doing 260k-ish, and the Ret Paladin doing 140k-ish. Maybe 150, right? This is not really the problem that I would say exists, but it is a big problem. We see like a massive delta between the top and the bottom. I've been observing this in all types of keys, even on the beta too, but that's a little bit more understandable. But yeah, in all types of keys that we've done in the last few months, it's been very common, and I don't necessarily know why. Now, the funny thing about this clip is that it was submitted to me, and this is what the email said. The healer just wasn't healing me during big pulls, so I had to dramatically reduce pull size. I also didn't realize, but I think the Paladin was like 480 or something. We might see that throughout the footage. I don't know where he comes to this conclusion, but there's a much bigger problem here than immediately meets the eye with the Paladin and potentially why they're doing so bad damage. You might be able to see it on the screen right now, but let's slow it down and take a look at it. Now, I don't fully understand the like changes to Ret Pally. I'm pretty sure that this is not what you want to be doing here. Do you see this character? They're literally just standing still. What they look to be like literally only using range spells or something like that. Are they truly close enough to the boss to be hitting there? Like, I mean, that's like 20 yards away. I don't really, the mage is closer. Like, here comes the ads. Tank is trying to gather them. Just try to pay attention to the Ret Pally. They're moving the camera a lot, but like you can see the Ret Pally is here just like basically AoEing the 3 mobs and not coming over to the boss and like the actual main target. You see just back there AoEing those 3 mobs. It just, to me, like right now, look at this. There's no way they're in, there's no way they're in range of the boss, right? In this example, we see they are actually below the healer on damage on this boss. And I mean, it makes me think like, is this a bot or something? Like, I don't understand why. Look at just standing back here. Like, they're scared. Look at it again. Here's Bromac. He's at like 8% health. The Paladin is like 40 yards away. Like literally 40 yards away. They're behind every rage. They're the furthest person away. There's the character right there, right underneath this like interrupt tracker thing. They are only going to get by because of the fact that they have the Shadow Priest frankly carrying them, and then the fact that it's a 4 fortified, not tyrannical. Look at just watch the Paladin's movements. There's this character right here. You see like very, very delayed reaction, kind of getting hit by everything that goes out, using horse to move like 1 yard, and then just from one fire patch into the next fire patch, and just doesn't recognize that and just dies in the fire patch. I made a lot of videos with this similar title before, and this is always the way it goes. There's always players who are simply unable to move their characters accurately, and this is just death. Like, you cannot succeed in this game if you have not good control over your character's movement and standing and where you're positioning, and especially as a melee. But remember what was actually said, right? The person who sent this to me said the healer wasn't healing me during big pulls. We haven't even, I mean, where has this happened? Maybe it's later. There's so much ridiculous stuff that goes on in this key. It makes me wonder if people even are aware of how bad some of the players are playing in this key. This is another example of what makes low keys so hard, that people can't identify the issues that are actually going on. Here is a great example. This is the real reason I'm making this video. Wait till you see how this boss goes. So if you guys somehow don't know this fight, basically those orbs, you need to use those to break off like shield chunks on the boss and be able to stun it. All right. I mean, let's just start this over in case you didn't see. Okay, guess who's got the first one? Our friend, the Ret Pally play. They literally take it up into Narnia above the camera screen there, and then they finally do their first global of damage like 10 seconds into the fight. So the big problem with this is that, you know, obviously outside the fact that the melee is not in melee range for many seconds, it makes doing the actual mechanic really, really, really hard when you have them all really far away, you see? So now he has to like run it from one side of the room to the other, and while doing so, this happens. Watch this, boom, look at this, getting a little too close there, Mr. Priest. It's like, did he soak it? He kind of like walks right into it, and then they just don't break it. So now the boss has like the empowerment. We're finally going to actually put two of them together, even though we don't put them near the boss. I think at this point, the tank doesn't realize once he's empowered, you have to eat this. There's nothing you can do about this. He can't be stunned or stopped again now. So he's kind of just running around in circles, like praying, I guess. I'm not really sure what the strategy is here at this point. Pay attention. You see the Paladin in the middle of the screen there. Resonating Orb just runs it. I mean, this is so, it's actually, you know, kind of sad. I feel bad because nobody actually explains this to the person or, you know, to anybody in general. This is 50% through the fight and there's not been a single comment on it. He is going to now try to explain it like very shortly by saying put near. And, you know, I mean, I think the big issue is that they're not close to each other. I don't necessarily think like it's that big of a deal to have them far out, but it's definitely not good to have them so separated from each other. That makes doing the tank's job like extremely difficult. Blizzard kind of rewards their bad behavior there. I don't know how the hell that happened where two were right next to each other finally, but Titanic Empowerment is going to get stopped this time simply because of that. But that's the only thing that gets said, right? He says put near boss. That's it. And I think, you know, it just perpetuates this issue where we just have players that just don't really know what they're doing wrong, but because the game's easy, like that guy made a ridiculous mistake on all three bosses so far, this Paladin, right? He has not been given any feedback other than him dying to that fire, which you probably couldn't fully understand why he actually died in the first place. It wasn't super clear because there were so many different fire patches. He's not really received any feedback from Blizzard that he did anything wrong. Here's another classic low-key pug moment though. Position requirements here. Here comes the cleave. Boom. Mage like literally blinks into his death. Did you see that? Here comes the cleave. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Did you see him just appear on the screen with 0.1 seconds left on that cleave? Here it comes now. Look at, just shows up at the last second to die. It's actually crazy. You could only have this in low keys, dude. This is so nuts. Now, I think the problem here is that he just stays dead. They fight 4 mobs with just the 4 players the whole way. I'm pretty sure like this is a short run back in this one, right? Because I'm not even really sure, but I think you just take the mold machine and you'd end up in the previous room. I don't know. You guys tell me. But yeah, so he's going to sit here the entire time they fight these 2 mobs now are whittling down. So the druid is going to, I guess, I don't know. I guess maybe the priest is rezzing. You can't really see the priest in this shot, but like he doesn't actually res the guy. Instead, he just says lazy. So I would imagine this is an example of what the person who submitted this was talking about. Like you look at the HPS chart, like the monk is above the druid. I mean, hey, those numbers are actually kind of high. Is this Blood DK gameplay? I don't really know, but as you see, the healer is simply not keeping up with the healer requirements of 4 fortified. That's kind of scary. Gonna have multiple people get very, very low, and yeah, 1 die, and then he's gonna do this. He battle reses him. Look at it takes forever too. Look, the guy's been dead for like 20-30 seconds at this point, and then the battle res comes in with the mob at 1% health, and he takes it, bro. He takes it. There's 1 mob with 12% health, and you took a battle res. Low keys. I mean, come on. How much more examples do we need? And it's particularly offensive because it's right before this boss, which is still a hard boss no matter what level you do or what difficulty or whatever. And you see, I don't know how that guy actually dies. I think there's a very real possibility he gets hit by the tank mechanic because it does look like it's pointed at him. So it's not the end of the world, you know, because we were able to get him up. We do lose a good amount of time on this boss. I don't know if they were waiting for the res, but they're going to have another problem here. Watch this mage. Watch this mage very closely. He's Philo, Drakthul there. You see him right here. Watch this mage. 3, 2, 1. Oh, what is that? This guy's like a suicide blinker. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody use the spell this poorly. Kind of, to be fair, doesn't look like he's going to blink into it. It looks like he's short of it, but he blinks into the lava wave. So now that guy's just dead. Like they don't seem to have another battle res. I don't have any like tracking on the screen. I'm not seeing it. They're not necessarily going to wipe to that yet, but like just have a look at what happens now. Here he comes. He's about to like knock everybody out of the middle. Paladin's just standing in it, like straight up. He's finally near the boss. So kudos. He's learning, I guess. Just standing right in the dead center as the fire comes out, so he gets hit basically twice by it. So they're now going to finish this with 2 DPS dead. Now the druid just gets ran over by mechanic too. But luckily it's, you know, such a low key, such an easy, it's non-tyrannical basically. They're able to just finish this without any actual issues. 3-minute and 59-second fight thanks to a pretty bad battle res on trash there. Flashing forward a bit now to more ranged Paladin gameplay. Look at how far this guy is away. There's no way he's attacking from there. It's like, no way. Probably not, because he's barely beating the healer. He's actually losing to the healer for most of that pack. Example number 436 of bad positioning in Mythic Plus Keys. Watch the Mage again. He's kind of like right above the health bars. Here comes the mechanic underneath him. The Druid in solidarity is then going to join him, and both of them are going to suicide into that mechanic. This is like next level here. Watch. The Druid is comfortably out of the mechanic. He walks into it right next to the Mage, almost like backs up, nuzzles next to him. I truly think nuzzles is the right word too, because the Mage is currently on fire, so he's trying to get warm. Maybe it's a little bit cold. In Ultimate, there's probably a pretty bad draft, given the fact that the high ceilings and all that. So that's a double kill to a single mechanic that you're meant to just move your character out of. The good thing about wiping though, like full wipe, is you get to practice again, right? So here comes the mechanic. Watch this again. Here comes big brown circle coming out underneath the Mage. There it is. He has plenty of time to move from it this time. He's definitely not going to die to it okay, he dies to it a second time, no worries. Learn from his last mistake too, he just sits there dead. Learn from our previous mistake too, we just fucking battle res him instead. It's just crazy. People probably still do this all the time. I haven't done this in season 2, so it feels like an old school thing to me. But as you see, we're trying to make this skip, right? Take a look at who just jumped up on the ledge there. That's the Paladin. You can see on the top right, the mini map, everybody's kind of like collecting and moving at the same time. See, the Mage made it through no problem, but you know, the tank's kind of just cautiously waiting. He's kind of waiting. You see people are starting to separate themselves. Druid's now through. Priest is all the way through. He's walking past the tank at this moment. Paladin's dot, yeah, he's still down. He's still throwing across the trash. Watch this again. This is crazy, dude. He made it up on the ledge, right? We saw him on the ledge. What happened? Did he fall? He falls, I guess, and then he just runs sideways and across the trash. I'm not crazy. Watch this. He runs, he horses, he gets up on the ledge, and then just like can't figure out how to get further, I guess. I don't know what he's doing for this time. Like everybody else is kind of taking a really long time to get through too, and you can't really see because he's got his camera turned, but like, you know, the Paladin's dot is doing some erratic stuff, and everybody else is moving. You see I see the Paladin kind of like just jumping over and over again, but this cracks me up, dude. You can't really see it, but like look at his nameplate. All you can see is the nameplate, and then the nameplate just moves from where it is all the way over to that side. No, again, he's just come down here to help the Paladin out, and the Mage is just like, nah, I don't fucking care about that, dude. He's just up there AFK. He's not gonna help them. He's not gonna help them kill this. Now, we know this is a position-based fight, and this is actually a rough dungeon for something like this, where this is going to happen a lot. Just, again, you probably won't be able to see it too well, but just try to keep an eye on the mini-map here. But you look down at the chart, and it's like, okay, the guy's doing 20k DPS. Is he even in auto-attack range? His damage is not going up either. It's like hovering lower than 25. It's now actually going down. It's down to 20k. 20,000 DPS a minute into the fight. Here comes the 50% haste phase, comfortably almost half below the Druid. A healer is doing double the damage of one of the DPS. This fight is hard, and I imagine it's probably harder on low keys every single time, because positioning this boss is really difficult, and having the puddles in the right spot is really difficult, so people aren't just like running around through them constantly like the Paladin does there. Look at the very top of the screen, there's the Paladin. He gets the mechanic and runs the opposite direction of the boss. And this is why this fight can be so difficult, because this could happen on any key level. If you don't place them well, you're just not going to have anywhere to stand for like a long period of time. But luckily now the puddles have turned friendly, and everybody is I guess gonna come back. I don't know what look again, the mini map, dude. The Paladin is just, what is he doing? He's just he's waiting for loot, I guess. He's just standing right where the loot thing is gonna open up. Yeah, look at it. He's just standing right by the loot. Love the instant leave from the Mage too. The guy who started like 6 things. And so yeah, they're like 5 minutes overtime, 5 minutes and 3 seconds overtime with all of those mistakes, and nobody says a word. Thank you, bye-bye, thank you. Everybody's just like, all right, yeah, we gave it our best bet. See you guys later. This is what scares me about low keys, because there was probably at least like 5 great examples of things that if you just played at some kind of like of an average level, you would have upgraded this key, right? Obviously we have a Paladin. The guy did 74k overall, bro. Like, all right, this is bad, right? But it's really not even the most offensive thing in the key. Like, it's a 4, first of all. I don't know what this guy's gear is like. I don't know, you know, he's saying 480. He never actually inspects him or anything like that. I assume he's just assuming that because of how low his damage is. And you know, that's another scary part, man. Like we just saw in the previous video I uploaded last Monday, people see weird stuff going on and they don't like fully register what it is. Like the Death Knight dual wield thing, like, yeah, that's really worrisome, man. Like, I don't know how you progress if these like basic things aren't obvious. Like the Paladin is not in range. Somebody just tell him, stand in range. Like, I mean, how does nobody bring that up with the whole dungeon? Like these types of players, on top of how difficult the season is going to be and how different it's going to be, I worry how many people are going to be coming back to season 1 of The War Within and not realizing that a 2 is actually like a 10 from the past, they're probably going to get very overwhelmed very quickly. And, you know, unfortunately, we're going to be here to review them and hopefully help them learn and laugh along the way. But I think a lot of people are going to probably end up quitting the game over it. Let me know what to think. Next video coming on this channel is going to be me reviewing every Mythic Plus dungeon disband from season 4. Like always, we do that at the end of a season, and then we're kind of just waiting. Please make sure you guys are recording. If you have any questions about how to do so, I'm happy to help you. It's a lot easier than I've heard a lot of people say, like, my computer's not good enough for it. I really don't know if I believe that, because like unless you're totally maxed out playing the game already and you can't even have like browser tabs open, you can change the setting on OBS. You can just record it like 720. It doesn't have to be like 4K or something crazy, you know? Just give it a try. It's a lot easier than you think. And in a situation like this, I think it's very clear that being able to review your footage would be very, very beneficial to you, because I mean, I really don't see at any point, any time where you would say the healer did not heal large enough for the pack to be commensurate, right? Like there is so many bigger issues, but that was the takeaway. You live and you learn, man. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you guys in the next one.